Welcome, welcome everyone to the latest edition of the Horsemen Hangout. We are back after a 2-week hiatus. We apologize for any inconvenience or any lost sleep or any tears that you've shed as we've gone on a little break, summer break if you will. My panel this week, you see Mr. Lane holding up the very, very proud 4 fingers.
That's right, my friend, that's right.
Mr. Lane, how are you doing this evening?
Well, I'm doing good, man. Almost. Hold on a second. Let me put this computer on here. I gotta get my companion thing here. Keep on going. I gotta get something here.
As we look at Mr. Lane's belly there, we can notice that he is in a different location. Mr. Lane did move. By the way, I did help Mr. Lane move from his previous location to his current location there.
Yeah, I actually have this still.
What do you have?
Well, this was the boogie board that Mr. Z
Oh
did.
yeah.
I still have it, but not to ruin it. But I'm gonna have to make it disappear real soon. Z, sorry, but I have to.
Speaking of that boogie board, the graphics were on there, were designed by our next panel member here, Mr. Anthony Zorzi. Z, how the heck are you, Z?
I'm doing great. Looking forward. It's been a long 2 weeks off from the Hangout, so let's get right to it.
Love that new laptop. Very good lighting down in the actual Horseman Hangout down there. But very nice. All right, guys. So let's start it off the bat here. Obviously, like we said, Mr. Lane's coming to you from a different location. What location are you? You are in the. What does that say there?
That is my new man cave right here, ladies and gentlemen.
All
my
right.
new man cave.
Oh, the new
right
man.
now.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, AKA my apartment here in Williamstown, New Jersey. So.
All right. Very good. Very, very good. Very good. We may have some special guests on the way on the second half of the program, but I just wanted to try a little quick shortened panel this week. Mr. Justin unfortunately couldn't be with us. Does anybody know why Mr. Justin couldn't be with us?
Well, all I know is I heard he had an interview, this weekend. So that's all I can go on. He said he had an interview. That's why, I invited him, quite frankly, to my place right here in Williamstown to watch the SummerSlam, which I guarantee you we will all talk about very shortly. So I look forward to that.
Look forward to that too, and I believe Mr. Justin owes you a visit. He owes you a visit, an initial visit to your new place of residence.
Absolutely. I look forward to it, actually.
Most definitely.
I saw Mr. Justin last night at the Phillies game, and I saw your dad there too. It was a nice night.
Very nice. Where's that Ryan Howard bobblehead? Did it take its place amongst the others, or?
No, it's still upstairs in the box. I got to make room for Mr. Howard. Very disappointing bobblehead last night. It's just very plain. Doesn't really look like him, but I enjoyed the game.
Did it look like Milt Thompson more so than Ryan Howard?
It looked like Dominic Brown, to be honest. It looked like Dominic Brown. That was the first bobblehead they made with a different company, Forever Collectibles. I don't know if y'all ever heard of them, but I wasn't impressed.
All right, very good. Well, we'll check in on that bobblehead eventually. I'm sure we can get a shot of that maybe on a future episode. We're going to start the show off this week with our usual, before we get into other topics, our usual Raw and SummerSlam. So I can't talk. SummerSlam thoughts. As you guys know, big news coming out of SummerSlam. New WWE or World Champion or Unified Champion, Mr. Brock Lesnar defeated Mr. John Cena in brutal fashion. He really made a name for himself, and we didn't see too much of the champion the next night on Raw other than a segment with Paul Heyman. The spotlight on Raw was on 2 individuals by the name of Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose. They had a heck of a match at the end of the show. I'm going to start off with Mr. Lane. Mr. Lane, what were your thoughts on SummerSlam initially, the big news, and then we're going to lead into your thoughts on Raw.
Well, I thought SummerSlam was a solid pay-per-view, to be honest with you. I enjoyed it. I thought it had some shocking, innovations. Basically, I'll say that. That's probably the wrong word, but really the big story in WWE, without a doubt, Brock Lesnar, the Beast, the Champ, and the Man. See, because he's all three of those things. I mean, we had talked about it on previous shows that it was going to be Brock Lesnar that was going to be the number one contender for SummerSlam. I think there was a few other guests that I think have said this. I think it was Mr. Sturgeon at the time. He had said something about that, and he said it was going to be Brock Lesnar, and then a few others said it was going to be Brock Lesnar as well. But and as far as the rest of SummerSlam is concerned, I'm happy for Dolph Ziggler. He did win the IC championship. Finally got a championship for himself. Fans have pushed for him. They've even chatted Dolph Ziggler, even though when he hasn't even been in the ring. I mean, fans have always wanted Dolph Ziggler. And then also another one, Paige won her second straight Divas Championship, beat AJ Lee. I think one of the more shocking developments, and I did call this one a little bit. It might be a little bit of controversy if we called it or not. If I called it anyway, I did partially predict that Nikki Bella was going to turn on her sister Brie Bella. I had a feeling that this was going to happen, and here's why. One of the reasons why I felt it was going to happen is you can go back to the Attitude Era 15 years ago. Good example. I have two good examples. When we remember the old D-Generation X, one of the original factions at the time, the original DX. Point of it is China had low blow Triple H that had to do with the corporation at the time, which was run, of course, by the McMahons. And then also WrestleMania 15 is another good example where Triple H turned on X-Pac at the time, and then he was part of the corporation too. He went from DX to the corporation. So now that you got the authority now in WWE, so Nikki Bella now has quote unquote sold out, as they say, similar to what Seth Rollins did with the Shield. So it all started with the Shield, and then you had the Bella Twins after that. And I guarantee you, the Bella Twins were money makers in WWE, no doubt. When they made their appearance, I mean, Total Divas was one of the highest rated shows on WWE Network, or not WWE, or on the E channel rather, when they had Total Divas on the E Network. So I thought SummerSlam was a very solid show. I mean, I had no problem with Lesnar being champion for a little while. I mean, it's been like 12 years, 11 years, 12 years, I think, because I remember another thing is it's similar to what he did with The Rock. He kicked the snot out of The Rock, but they were saying that Brock Lesnar kicked the snot out of John Cena. That's straight, and I think that's the straight truth. So, hopefully the anti-Cena fans are happy about this. He's no longer the champion. Brock Lesnar is. Deal with it, as Batista would say.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Lane. Mr. Z, I know we were texting Monday night. Did you happen to see the ending of Raw on Monday night?
I fell asleep. I forget which match I fell asleep in.
That's all right. I will inform you if you didn't see it. What happened was Mr. Seth Rollins. I don't blame you for falling asleep, by the way. But they did end the show on a pretty notable segment. Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose had a knockdown, drag-out, awesome match. I believe it was Falls Count Anywhere, or no?
The last thing I remember was when they had read the results of a Falls Count Anywhere match, and that's when I was out.
Yeah, it was an amazing match. Both guys got the spotlight, and I'm very happy that they did, and they ran with it and put on a fantastic main event. Now, unfortunately, the actual match was a bit overshadowed by the angle, which was basically Dean Ambrose had got curb stomped, which is Seth Rollins' move, onto a pile of cinder blocks.
Right.
Gimmick cinder blocks, of course. I don't know whether that's a way to write him off TV. I heard a rumor that he may be filming a movie and needed to be written off TV. I really wasn't a fan. It was kind of cheesy. I'm a fan of that kind of violence on the show, but to me, a cinder block, virtually half the cinder blocks in the stack smashed. Now, it just didn't seem too realistic to me. Mr. Lane, what did you think about that ending when they smashed, Mr. Rollins smashed Ambrose's skull, I believe with the help of Kane, right?
Right.
Into those cinder blocks. What'd you think about that ending? Because me personally, even though I'm down with that style and a good cliffhanger ending or a good dramatic ending, I just didn't care for the cinder blocks. What do you think?
Well, I think it was a way to get Dean Ambrose, to end this potential rivalry between, Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins, because that rivalry has been going on for quite some time, really ever since
So do
Seth
you think
Rollins
that's
turned on the Shield.
so? In other words, you think that's the end of that
I don't,
rivalry?
I don't know if it's the end, but it would be interesting to see if Seth Rollins. I don't think he'll cash in Money in the Bank. It would be foolish to cash in Money in the Bank right now against Brock Lesnar, in my opinion. Excuse me, because see, Brock Lesnar and Seth Rollins are supposedly heels right now. You
I
know,
I have a funny feeling. I have a funny feeling
okay.
that the main event of WrestleMania, now this isn't the funny feeling, but I think we've already talked about this, that the main event of WrestleMania will be Mr. Brock Lesnar defending his championship against Roman Reigns. I have a feeling Roman Reigns will defeat Brock Lesnar, come very close to losing, so he's going to be very battered and beat up in that match, but still walk out world champion. And then, after that, Seth Rollins cashes in his Money in the Bank against his former Shield member at WrestleMania. What do you guys think about that? Mr. Z, what do you think about that? Is that too far-fetched? Personally, I wouldn't do it because I don't think I respect Seth Rollins, but I would not end WrestleMania with Seth Rollins as the champion. But what do you think about that cash-in, Mr. Z? You think that's possible?
Oh, I definitely think it's possible. There are reports that came out that Vince and Triple H were kind of butting heads over Triple H wanting to let the younger guys kind of take center stage at Mania, whereas Vince wanted The Rock to come in for another payday for a Mania. I'm for it either way. I'm for The Rock coming back, or I'm for the young guys taking, the reins, and no pun intended for Roman. But yeah, I definitely think that can happen. Will it happen at Mania? I don't think so. I think they want Roman Reigns to be the next big thing, and having him win that big and then lose the title with the cash-in might diminish that. However, they did the same thing with Bryan at SummerSlam last year. It didn't seem to hurt his stock. Definitely think that's the way they want to go. I foresee in the future a triple threat match between the former Shield members for the title at some point in the next few years.
Yeah, that's definitely possible. And if they wanted to go the Rock-Brock route as the main event, which in my opinion would draw more money, but still wanted to put Roman Reigns over, the way they should have done it was had Roman Reigns win Money in the Bank, potentially maybe keep him heel, and then had maybe Rock beat Brock at WrestleMania, and then had a cash-in after that on The Rock by either Roman Reigns or I guess Seth Rollins. But I don't know. Is it something, Mr. Lane? What do you think? Is it just me, or I've watched Seth Rollins for years. Myself and Mr. Zorzi saw him as Tyler Black at the ECW arena many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I don't dislike him, but I don't see him as a main event player. Maybe it's just me. I see shades of Edge in him. He reminds me a lot of Edge. That doesn't mean one day he could be a main event player, but as of right now and within the next year, I'm not seeing it with Seth Rollins. Ambrose, and I definitely see it with Dean Ambrose. Mr. Lane, what is your thoughts on Seth Rollins?
Well, I think with Seth Rollins, I think he probably might be a world champion. It might be. I think he is very similar to Edge, in my opinion. A lot of people thought that Edge was a tag team specialist and only an intercontinental champion, but I personally think that Seth Rollins, it might only get better, hopefully. And he had he had the he had the Money in the Bank, and Edge had did it twice. I think CM Punk did it twice, but I think having said that, I think he will be a next WWE World Heavyweight Champion. I think your story would make logical sense because Roman Reigns against Seth Rollins. If Dean Ambrose is out of the picture, for a while, like it might be projected to be. Although there was conflicting reports also that he had gotten, or he refused medical treatment. I think after that cinder block thing that happened. So last week on Raw. But I think they're pushing Seth Rollins real good right now. He's a top heel right now. He's part of the Authority. So I mean, you have now Corporate Kane now. See, Corporate Kane is now the guy, but he did play a role in that match too. People forget he did play a role in that match at SummerSlam. So
Very good.
you know,
Well, we shall see how that all plays out. I do have an announcement to make, guys. In the coming fall months, we are going to be introducing the Horsemen Hangout Hall of Fame. And basically what's going to happen is the four horsemen, be myself, Mr. Z, Mr. Lane, and Mr. Justin, will be collectively voting on the first ever Horseman Hangout Hall of Fame member. I hold in my left hand here the official list of nominees for the first ever Horseman Hangout Hall of Famer. And the nominees are, and I'll get your thoughts afterward. Now please do not place your bets. That will come at a later date, gentlemen. The nominees are Norman Smiley, Tugboat, Virgil, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Jimmy Hart, and finally Earl Hebner. That's right, Earl Hebner. So, Mr. Z, your thoughts on these nominees here? So we've got Norman Smiley, Tugboat, Virgil, Hacksaw, Jimmy Hart, Earl Hebner. Any thoughts on any of these guys? One of these six individuals is going to be the first ever Horseman Hangout Hall of Famer. What do you think?
Well, all of those individuals we've come into contact with at some point, numerous times for the 10 years of the Horsemen.
That is true.
They are all worthy candidates of the the title of first entrant in the Hall of Fame. Noticeably absent off that list, but I think it's only because he's a Hall of Famer in all of our hearts and minds, is the person that got the Horsemen together in the first place, and that's Nature Boy Ric Flair. I my profile to put on that list, but if it wasn't for Ric Flair, we would have never became the Four Horsemen. So, but
Yeah.
I like the list, and I really look forward to voting on it.
Mr. Lane, your thoughts? Norman Smiley, Tugboat, Virgil, Hacksaw, Jimmy Hart, Earl Hebner. What are your thoughts on this crop?
well, I think this is a solid class. I would have to say, one of the guys that I think he does follow us on Twitter, Jimmy Hart, arguably one of the greatest managers of all time. He always ran with his mouth, but he could back it up. He was very creative. I mean, and another thing that people probably don't know about Jimmy Hart, I don't know if people saw Legends House or not, but he can write some solid music too. He's a very solid music writer. And having said that, he's an excellent wrestling manager and a very solid writer. So, I mean, he's one of Hulk Hogan's right-handed men. I think I love Jimmy Hart and the rest of those guys. Hacksaw, Jim Duggan. Those are a couple guys from the not from the Horsemen Hangout, but the Legends House is what I was trying to say. I think those are some solid names. Norman Smiley, I remember him, from WCW. He used to do those hardcore matches, and he would help some of the lady wrestlers. Help some of the wrestlers get better. Help them, be a good wrestling teacher and whatnot. So, I think that's awesome.
And thank you, Mr. Lane. Just to spawn off of one of the comments you made, Jimmy Hart follows the Horseman Hangout. The ironic part is we have two former WWE managers who follow the Horseman Hangout on Twitter, Mr. Jimmy Hart, and then Oscar of Men on a Mission, the manager who rapped Men on a Mission to the ring, if any of y'all remember that.
I remember that manager, very underrated. I thought he was a very solid rapper. Men on a Mission were a very good tag team back in the New Generation era of WWE. They were very solid. Love Men on a Mission. So
Yeah,
they were a great tag team.
most definitely, most definitely. So, coming months, coming weeks, we are going to talk more about the Horseman Hangout Hall of Fame, have some profiles and voting, etc. Trivia time. Trivia time. Here we go. Y'all each will have a chance.
All right.
In 2002, the WWE brought back the NWO. Name every member of the WWE version of the NWO, not only initially, but through the course of the gimmick in the WWE, the NWO.
Just shout out our answers, or are you gonna call on one of us?
You can each have a shot to guess every member, and I'm not going to tell you how many people there are. We're going to go, Mr. Z, you want to go first?
Yeah, Hulk Hogan, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, X-Pac, Shawn Michaels, and Eric Bischoff.
Okay, very good. I have very good there, Mr. Z, and now Mr. Lane. Do you want to let's see if your response is different or?
All right. Well, I'll give it a go. You had Hogan, Hall, Nash, Shawn Michaels. Who else? Who else? You had X-Pac, and I know that I thought there was some more people. Ah, darn! I'm hitting the wall here. Ah, so I know Shawn Michaels was part of it. This is the WWE version, right? For the second coming of the NWO.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay. I'm just
This was
trying.
2002.
Right. Yeah. Doggone it. Who was in that regime? Oh boy. I think that's about all of them I can think of. I think it's just 5 people I can think of, unless I'm missing one. Because you had Hogan, Hall, Nash, Shawn Michaels, and X-Pac. Those are the only ones I could think of.
Mr. Z, how many did you name once again?
I named 6. I named the 5 Mr. Lane named, and I said Eric Bischoff.
Both of you are incorrect. There were officially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 official NWO members in the WWE version in 2002. I will give you the correct names that you've already listed, but the 2 that have not been named, I will leave blank. And we will have a final round here. Hogan, Hall, Nash, X-Pac, Shawn Michaels. That's 5. We are missing 2. Unfortunately, Eric Bischoff was not in this version of the NWO.
I was about to say Eric Bischoff was the general manager of Raw at the time. I don't know. Wait a minute. Wait a second.
We have to, wait a minute, Mr. Lane. Hold your horses there, Mr.
Oops.
Lane. Put your hand on the horse and hold it. Okay, we have 2 more members. Z, do you want to take a shot, or are you drawing a blank?
I'll take a shot.
I will give you guys a hint, because this may be a little stretch without Googling it, because it is pretty obscure. One of these members was kicked out of the NWO at some point. Mr. Z, give it a shot. Name the 2.
I'll say the Big Show and just because of ties to WCW, Rey Mysterio.
Very good. Big Show, Rey Mysterio. Mr. Lane, end it for us. Go.
Doggone it. Hold on. Let me see. Who else was in it? Who else? Oh my goodness. Was Chavo Guerrero part of it?
Mr. Lane, you have to pick 2 wrestlers, and I will tell you if you were right at the end. I cannot give hints.
Right, Chavo. I was gonna say Big Show and Chavo Guerrero. That's the only one I can think of offhand.
Oh man. Well, we have another tie. Because you have both selected Big Show, and he is most definitely, or was most definitely, a member of the WWE NWO. But neither Chavo or Ray was a member.
Ah, darn.
I will give you guys one. This is the most difficult trivia I've ever. This shows that no one paid attention to 2002 WWE too much. I will give you guys one last shot in the dark. 5 seconds. First name on the top of your head. Mr. Z, go.
Shane McMahon.
Shane McMahon. Mr. Lane, go.
Vince McMahon?
Vince McMahon, no. The correct answer, as we have no winner of trivia this week, was Booker T.
Oh.
Booker T was the NWO, and he was kicked out. I believe you can YouTube the segment. He was kicked out of the NWO literally kicked out by Shawn Michaels, who super kicked him because he was the weak link. And they super kicked Booker T out of the NWO. You remember that, Mr. Lane? What?
Tell me you did not just say that.
You were frozen for a second.
I was just listening to you, man. I mean,
Do that again. You play a good frozen. Do that again. See how long you can hold it.
tell me you did not just say that.
Very good, very good.
I have
All right, guys, moving on. No winner of trivia this week. I apologize to our viewers at home. But speaking of viewers at home, I'm looking forward to watching I don't know how long it's going to last, but there's a Simpsons marathon coming to television tomorrow at 10 a.m., starting with Season 1, Episode 1, 1989. You realize how long this series has been running? I was in 3rd grade when the show started. I never picked up Season 1 DVD, so this is going to be like a trip down memory lane. My DVRs are going to get a damn workout. Mr. Z, any thoughts on the? I mean, obviously, I know you're a hardcore Simpsons fan, even still to this day. What is your thoughts on this marathon, and also your thoughts in general? Any memories that stick out to you pertaining to the Simpsons?
Well, as you said, the Simpsons. I've been a fan my entire life. It's my favorite show. I own every season they've put out on DVD. I've seen almost every episode that they've put out. I am really looking forward to this marathon. I'm working from home on Friday, so that's all I'll be watching on Friday, and the majority of my time on Thursday because the Phillies are off. So I'll definitely be getting my full dose of Simpsons in. But as far as memories, there's an old home video. Many people know the first episode of The Simpsons is the Christmas episode, the original Christmas episode. I was just a little over 2 years old at the time, and
Wow.
there's a home video of myself that my parents have filming me doing stupid things around Christmas time, and on the TV in the background, you can hear the first ever episode of The Simpsons on TV. That's a good memory. As far as like episodes, my favorite season I think is season 5.
Okay.
There's tons of great episodes in there. Conan O'Brien, who I know Mr. Root TV is a big fan of, wrote some of the best Simpsons. That's a little known fact. Most casual Conan fans might not know, or Simpsons fans might not know, that he wrote some of the best episodes in Simpsons history. But I'm really looking forward to this marathon. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah, most definitely. I look back. I mean, I was old enough. I'm a few years older than you, Mr. Z. But I vividly remember that first season airing and watching it, and what a storm of popularity that came. I was in 3rd grade. Everybody had the "Don't Have a Cow" shirts. Everybody had when the Do the Bartman video came out, everybody had the toys, the Bartman shirts. Homer Simpson, it was insane. Everyone loved The Simpsons. Now, of course, throughout the years it's tapered off, but it's still level in terms of, it still has a really big audience, and that's why it's lasted so long. I mean, they wouldn't keep it on the air if it didn't have an audience or was doing crappy ratings. My favorite, I loved Who Shot Mr. Burns. Man, that was the best. I watched that live. They ended season. What season did they end that? What season was the first part of Who Shot Mr. Burns? Was that 4 or
Season 6.
6? Okay, season 6, and then season 7. But I love Who Shot Mr. Burns. Mr. Lane, were you a fan of I know you like Family Guy.
Yeah, well, I
brought up The Simpsons.
Yeah, The Simpsons was a good show. I mean, well, I mean, I watch it on and off. I mean, it's tough for me to watch The Simpsons, as tough as it sounds. I mean, I can download some of the shows on my PlayStation Network if I want to, and watch that. And you know, as far as The Simpsons are concerned, I think one of my personal favorite episodes was when, I think this might sound a little bit funny, but it was a baseball-related episode where they had all the celebrities and
Homer at the Bat. It's called Homer at the Bat. It's a great episode.
Yeah, that was, and it had all the baseball celebrities. I think some of the legends from like the '80s and '90s, and I think the game. I don't want to spoil it for viewers, but they probably already knew about it. It's when Homer Simpson got hit in the head, and the softball team at the time won the game, and then they had this, I thought, solid softball song, at the end at the end of the episode. I like that too. Of course, the Do the Bartman is another classic. I thought that was an excellent music video back in its day. It was cool as heck. I mean, I just love that music video. I think about it every once in a while. I haven't seen it in years, although I haven't seen it on YouTube yet, but I probably will. But it was a great music video back in its day. So,
Very good. Yeah,
this is a great show.
Most definitely agree with that. 2 more things about The Simpsons. Number 1, Treehouse of Horror, Halloween tradition. I love the Treehouse of Horror. Still watch it to this day, even though I'm in and out with the new episodes. I don't really watch them like I used to, but always catch Treehouse of Horror. And also, as good as the Simpsons main family, their characters were built up so well throughout the years, and they've evolved so much. I mean, just watch that first season tomorrow. And Mr. Z, I don't have to tell you, you know way more than I do about it, but watch that first season and watch how the comedy and the characters evolve from season 1 to how you know them today. Not just the family, but the secondary characters. I mean, to me, and this is not a slight on Homer, Marge, Bart, Lisa, or Maggie, I love the secondary characters way more than the Simpson family. Mo Sizlak is my all-time favorite. You know what? He might even be my all-time favorite TV character in general, let alone my favorite character on The Simpsons. I love Mo. Mr. Z, all-time favorite Simpsons character, and your thoughts on what I just said?
Oh, man. All-time favorite Simpsons character, I'll have to go with Homer, but like you said, there are so many good secondary characters that just make the show. So many one-liners. Ralph comes to mind. Chief Wiggum comes to mind. Mr. Burns comes to mind. Like you said, Mo is great. Barney is hilarious. There's just, and then there's even more minor characters than the minor characters. Like I love Cletus. I love Disco Stew. I love Jasper. So there's so many even second tier and third tier characters that are great. I got a question, a little trivia that I'll throw out there to Mr. Lane and Mr. Ryan. That softball episode featured Major League Baseball players from the 80s, early 90s. If the two of you can name all of the players that were in that episode, I'll go through the trivia winners for this week.
Now you're challenging us to trivia. All right. Sounds like a redeemer, I guess. All right, I'll go with let's see, Darryl Strawberry, Don Mattingly is a couple of them I know. Who else? Roger Clemens, I think, might have been one of those guys as well. Those are the only 3 I can think of right now, to be honest with you. That I'm having.
Wade Boggs.
Yes.
Okay, Boggs was in that. God, this was in the early 90s, so did we say Barry? We said Barry Bonds.
Barry Bonds was not in that episode.
Nope, I knew he was not.
Oh, man. I think we're missing a pitcher.
No, Roger Clemens was the only pitcher.
Clemens, okay.
I said Clemens already.
Yeah, I'm drawing a blank, Mr. Z. Hit us.
Right,
I don't know.
We have Roger Clemens, like Mr. Lane said, Roger Clemens, Darryl Strawberry, and Mr. Lane. Who else did you say?
I did say Don Mattingly.
Don Mattingly. And then Mr. Ryan said Wade Boggs. Now I'll name all the guys and I'll tell you what happened to them so they couldn't play in the game. Roger Clemens was hypnotized to thinking he was a chicken. That's why he missed the game. Darryl Strawberry played in the game and was pulled in the ninth inning after he hit 9 home runs for Homer. That led to the game-winning hit by a pitch. Who else did you say, Mr. Lane? I'm sorry.
Don
Mattingly. Don Mattingly was kicked off the team because he refused to, quote-unquote, shave his sideburns, even though he had no sideburns. Mr. Ryan, you said Wade Boggs. Wade Boggs could not play because he got into a fight at Moe's with Barney. Now, the players that you missed, Ken Griffey Jr. Ken Griffey Jr. was hospitalized because he kept taking nerve tonic and had gigantism.
Right.
Ozzie Smith went to the Springfield mystery spot and fell in. Steve Sachs got arrested and charged with murder. Mike Stosha was hospitalized with nuclear poisoning. Ozzie Smith. I'm going around the diamond here. I think that's it.
Yeah, well, you have 2 managers of L.A.
Jose Canseco was stuck taking things out of a house fire. He was stuck moving things out of the house fire, and he missed the game. So I think that's your outfield and your infield and your catcher with Sosha, and I think that's what happened to all the players. So they're all the players. So again, I'll go around the diamond. You got Sosha. You have at first base. You have Mattingly. You have Sachs. You have Canseco, Ozzie Smith, Ken Griffey Jr., Darryl Strawberry, and Boggs. There you go. They're all the Phillies and sorry, not Phillies, baseball players, and then Roger Clemens on the mound. But they're all the players that were in the Homer at the Bat episode.
And now was that the Mr. Lane's got a boogie board there.
Yes. So, therefore, I'm the winner of this trivia this time.
Yes,
I won. I won.
Very good. Mr. Z, was that the episode that they ended with, or at least there was a segment on that where the announcer was like, and on the field they are throwing pretzels.
No, that's the episode where Marge becomes an entrepreneur and starts the pretzel wagon.
I love that. Well,
yeah.
That episode we're talking about is good, but they kind of mix together.
Yeah, and they go to a minor league. They go to a Springfield Isotopes game, and it's pretzel day, and there's like a bad call in the field, and the announcer goes, and Hall of Famer Whitey Ford has come out to calm down the crowd, and they pelt him with pretzels, and he goes, and here come the pretzels.
And here come the pretzels.
I believe it's Harry Shearer trying to do a Vince Scully impression.
Yeah, and that's
it's great.
I was just thinking about that. That reminds me of Vince Scully. But oh man, I just love old school Simpsons. No, they're just the best. Mr. Lane,
Yes.
I wanted to ask you a question. Oh, there's a nice shot of your V-neck. I want to ask you a question.
What's up?
My mind. Now I'm going to go out on a limb and say this. In my mind, and I've said this from the first time I saw her. Rusev's manager or handler, whatever you want to call her, Lana. I think, and maybe I haven't said this publicly, I think next year this time she will be, in her own right, obviously wrestling isn't as popular as it was in 98 and 99, she will be the next Sable of the WWE. I think she's got the looks, the personality, I think she's, from all indications that she's really into wrestling. It's not like she's using it as a stepping stone to model or act. She really wants to be a wrestler and a diva. I'm making the bold prediction that she's going to become the next Sable. Mr. Lane, what do you have to say about that prediction? She was going to break free of Mother Russia and become a true diva, not unlike Sable.
Well, you know what? That's an interesting prediction, but she has an excellent Russian accent. I like it, though. We got to see how good Mr. Rusev really will be. I mean, will he be a champion in the future, too? I mean, he's been a very, very dominant wrestler. I know he was a little vulnerable against Mark Henry. On Raw. I don't know if y'all saw that where he and Mark Henry, Rusev and Mark Henry went at it. So
I'm just, Mr. Lane, I'm just a little.
I don't think so though.
Okay, well, I'll get to Mr. Z stuff in a second. I'm a little disappointed that Lana is coming into the WWE during this era, during the PG era, because if Lana came in, let's just say 2000, on the tail, we were still in the Attitude Era in 2000. We would have seen her in so many mud pit matches, B&P matches, and stuff that would be just very nice on the eyes. Mr. Z, what do you think of Lana? Do you think she? I mean, my opinion, I'm not real big on women's wrestling. I'm just saying the character, the woman Lana. I feel like she's going to be the next Sable or Sunny. What do you have to say about that, Z?
I think she looks great. I don't think that the Russo thing is going to last, just like Marlena never lasted with Goldust, Sable never lasted with Wildman Mark Mero. Yeah, I think she's going to be a big breakout star. I don't know in what way they'll use her because they don't really exploit the chicks like they used to in the past. I don't know if she is a women's wrestler. I don't think she has any background in that. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
So I don't know what capacity they'll use her, but I think she looks great.
Very good, very good, and I think she is on her way to a pretty successful career in the WWE. Just my opinion. Speaking of Lana, Promo Mania time, and the reigning champion, Mr. Rusev Lane. Rusev Crush, right? Say it.
Rusev Crush.
Yeah, well, I've decided, and I know Mr. J hasn't been on the show for a while now, and we've been on a 2-week hiatus. I think Promo Mania deserves. I think if you win Promo Mania, you keep going. Rusev Lane, you are Mr. Z's creation, and you are the champion. And I think that any Promo Mania, you need to defend that title, Rusev Lane. So all challengers, Rusev Lane.
Rusev Crush, Rusev and Z, Rusev and Z. Will Z represent America or will he represent Italia?
Well, he is Italian.
Yeah, because Italia failed in World Cup. Just like Mr. Lane's England failed in World Cup. Russia was this close to World Cup in 1966 when they couldn't beat the Germans. Excuse me.
Kind of sound like a gangster from Chicago now. Italian. Well, anyway, Rusev Lane, thank you for showing up with your championship belt. By the way, quick question, Mr. Lane.
Yes.
Where the heck is your replica championship belt? I didn't see that when we watched SummerSlam. Where is that?
Well, it's back at the house, unfortunately. I don't know if I'll bring it with me or not. I don't know about that.
Why wouldn't you bring the belt?
Well, I mean, I thought about it. I'm getting a little fatigued here, but I thought that wasn't sure if I wanted to bring the championship belt with me, so I was thinking about doing that. So we'll see.
All right, you got it. Well, I'm curious about that, and then I wanted to see your DVDs, but you had them wrapped in shrink wrap, man. What the heck?
Yeah, well, as what's his name would say, I have some bad news for you. All right, I don't know if you all see that. Yeah, all wrapped up right there. I might unwrap them real soon anyway. So I might unwrap them eventually. I'm trying to get myself settled. And another lousy part, and I know I'm probably a little lousy on this too. I've yet to I don't know if y'all are familiar with my PlayStation 3. I know Z played the PS4 briefly at my apartment prior to the pay-per-view, but I had the PS3 in my bedroom. Excuse me, I've yet to connect it yet, so I've yet to connect my PS3. It's been like a few weeks since I've connected to it, so I might make some adjustments to my bedroom. Maybe the next time you guys come over. So I don't know yet.
Mr. Lane, all I have to say is I have some video game connections, and I have an advanced copy of the PS14.
The PS14?
That's right, the 14th version of the PlayStation, which is scheduled to come out in 2039.
Oh my gosh. What is wrong? What is going on here?
What kind of show is this?
What is going on around here?
All right, guys. Promo Mania. Rusev Lane versus Z. Do you want to challenge Mr. Lane, or do you want me to go?
I'll challenge Mr. Lane.
All right. Yeah, I'll give you a few moments to think of someone as Mr. Rusev Lane garners up a few thoughts and hits us with his promo on Mr. Z. You can just cut it on Mr. Z as Mr. Z thinks of the character. Mr. Lane, I'm going to ask you, Rusev Lane, to defend your Promo Mania Championship belt and cut a promo right now on Mr. Z. Go.
All right, let me go to it right now here. Hold on here.
I think you may have to stand up and salute.
Rusev power. Rusev and Z. We are together in the Horsemen Hangout. Are you ready for your promo? Because I know you're a Flyers fan. Flyers. I remember years ago when the Flyers kicked the snot out of Russia. Russia and the Flyers. Will they win the cup? Because Rusev will crush. He'll crush and crush the hockey. Crush hockey.
Wow, that's very impactful, very impactful. Bringing in the hockey demographic, bringing in the hockey crowd, the hockey element, if you will, to his promo. Very good. And maybe striking an emotional chord with Mr. Z, a Flyers fan. Mr. Z, have you decided on a character for Promo Mania this week?
Yeah, I'm going to use my remote as a microphone.
All right.
Just give me a few seconds here.
Yeah, no problem. Take your time.
I was going to do the Goon and with the hockey tie-in, but
Right.
That'd be too obscure. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman.
Oh my!
I am the advocate for my client, Anthony Zorzi. Now, there's a few things I want to go over before I address the large Russian in the room. One, I bet you didn't know that Anthony Zorzi was a Paul Heyman guy, much like CM Punk and Brock Lesnar. Anthony Zorzi is a Paul Heyman guy. Now, this Rusev Lane wants to come on the Horsemen Hangout and talk about how he's going to crush and talk about Russia and talk about the Philadelphia Flyers. That's all well and good. We're not worried about the Russia, and we're not worried about hockey. This is America. We're worried about one thing, and that is eat, sleep, conquer, repeat. Yes, you might think that is the same motto as Brock Lesnar, but all of my clients have adopted that motto. So there's one thing I want to say to Rusev Lane, if he's listening. And if he's listening, I want to know what he's thinking when we come for you, Rusev Lane. You can run, but you can't hide.
Rusev crush Orioles. I crushed you, Z. You Z Heyman guy. Y'all didn't see that coming, did you? I had to use that as a prop. I'll admit it. I use that as a prop right there. So if y'all see that right there, there's the Oriole right there. Y'all saw the wrapper.
He does kind of look like Cal Ripken.
Who gave you those Orioles, by the way?
Yes, I did, and I thank you, Z. Seriously though, but I had to do that. Yes, I had to. I had to do it.
Oh man, this is gonna be tough. Oh.
I was hoping to break out my Heyman in a couple weeks and actually cut a promo, like a relevant promo. So I kind of had to do it on the fly with no material on Rusev Lane. So it's not as good as I had hoped it would be.
Yeah, but you did good, Z. You did good.
All right. Well, in any event, I have a very tough decision to make, and honestly,
You got to keep the train rolling. I mean, I got to give credit where credit is due.
I have to be honest with you. I was considering penalizing Mr. Lane for his late surge of characterization. But when you get that kind of reaction out of me and Mr. Z, your opponent even, it was an excellent Paul Heyman, Z, and I was surprised that you did Paul Heyman. But unfortunately, the winner once again is Rusev Lane.
He did crush. He did crush.
Congratulations.
Crush more.
He will crush more in the coming weeks. And that brings us to our final thoughts of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. I will start off with my final thoughts, and then I will pitch it to you guys. Final thought of the evening. Not many people online have talked about this due to it, I guess, the death of Robin Williams, but which I guess we didn't cover that last week. But rest in peace, Robin Williams. I think you know how I feel about that. You could posted a lot about that on my Twitter. Icon, love Robin, but also rest in peace, Don Pardo, an SNL fan since I was 9 years old. He has been the voice from day one, the voice of Saturday Night Live, 90 years old, passed away a couple days ago. Rest in peace, Don Pardo. And we will never get to hear Don Pardo say, "And starring Mr. Lane."
Musical guest, Mr. Lane.
Musical guest, Mama Lane.
Yeah, that was a great voice too. That was a great
so anyway,
voice.
that's my final thought. Rest in peace, Don Pardo. Rest in peace, Robin Williams.
And God bless Robin Williams. He was an excellent voice. I remember him. I know he was in a lot of movies, but yeah. I specifically, and I'll just share this as my final thought about the late Robin Williams.
All right.
He was the voice of the genie, which I thought was one of the best Disney movies ever. He played the genie in Aladdin, and he brought so much character, so much acting experience to that character, the genie of the lamp, and I thought that was great. I mean, it was great. I know he was in a couple of the Aladdin movies. I think only the first Aladdin movie and the third Aladdin movie. So I think it was the Return of 40 Thieves, something like that. I know that was his movie. That was when he starred as the genie, because he did it only in 2 Aladdin movies. But I'll remember him as the voice of the genie. He was great. Great personality, great sense of humor, great charisma, and I think overall a great guy, great actor.
Very good. Thank you. And Mr. Z, final thoughts, please.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. I gotta go grab something.
Alrighty.
Yeah, go ahead. It's like everyone's grabbing something here. What we got? Who we got?
For my final thought, I wanted to talk about kind of something serious. Most people, if you have Facebook or social media, have seen people the popular craze is the ice bucket challenge that many people are doing these days. We talked about it on Sunday during the SummerSlam broadcast, and I did mine on Sunday before I went over to Mr. Lane's new apartment. Some people like to badmouth it. They think it's stupid, that people are quote-unquote wasting water or pouring water on their heads, and that's not the point of this thing. Just to show you, this is the Phillies Festival booklet that they give out, and the Phillies charity benefits, as you can see there, ALS. And I attend the festival every year, and every penny of the Phillies Festival goes to the ALS Foundation through Phillies Charities. If you think the Ice Bucket Challenge is stupid, if you think that people are doing it for attention and not for the cause, that's not true. It's very small numbers of people who are doing it just for the attention and just for pouring water on the head and doing it on Facebook. ALS is a horrible disease, and any kind of donation anybody makes to it is for a good cause. Just by going to the festival every year, I've donated hundreds and hundreds of dollars to the ALS Foundation the past few years that I've gone to the festival, and just seeing the people there affected by ALS, it'll break your heart. So if you don't want to do the Ice Bucket Challenge, you don't have to do it. If you feel the spirit of charity, donate to ALS because it's for a good cause.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Z. And I totally agree with you, and thank you for doing the Ice Bucket Challenge. I saw that. And
I did it in a Hulkamania t-shirt, by the way.
Yeah, definitely saw that. That was awesome. I love the sunglass fall there, too. All right, guys, for myself, Scotty, Mr. Lane, and Mr. Z, we will see y'all next week. Right on. All right, Biss, we got to go. We got to sign off. Woo!